Omi in a Hellcat uploaded his first video titled Payday at Reloaded Construction. The vlog ends with a very deep message.
Always remember, live life the way you will want to live it. You only get one chance at this, one shot at life.
If you guys out here, just because he give you words of motivation, it doesn't mean that they always really making their money legit. Alright, these guys that make money, you gotta watch who you take life advice from. Sometimes it's good advice, sometimes behind that good advice is wrong intentions, right? Let's see how he got people scammed.
Chance, one shot, that's it. Any mistake that you make, it's done. You're done.
Little did Omi know, starting this YouTube channel could have been the one mistake that would ultimately land him in federal prison. That very first video that Omi posted got 60,000 views in the first 3 days. The video shows Omar stepping out of his mansion, walking down his long driveway with more than 15 all-white cars parked in it, and telling the viewers about his entrepreneurial endeavor.
What is the idea behind getting 15 white cars? What is this? What is there to say about that? I don't know.
From there, he drives to his first nightclub that he owns, where they are doing renovations. Then he goes to his second nightclub, where they just made the final touches before opening. Omi continued to post vlogs that started with motivational messages about life.
You have one thing, an advantage over a lot of people. You're free, you're young, and you're healthy. No excuses. Stop trying to keep up with everybody. Stop going out buying Balenciaga.
Typically, the middle of his videos would be him tending to his businesses, buying expensive clothes, jewelry, new cars, vintage cars, tour buses, and even houses. For a wildly successful man, he was relatable, down to earth, and kind, far from the narcissistic rich assholes we typically see on the internet. Within 2 months, he reached 100,000 subscribers. By the end of summer 2019, he had 300,000 subscribers. But every time he was asked about how he obtained his wealth, his answers were extremely vague.
What?
Alright, y'all, so if you knew this guy was not selling you some sort of mentorship, he's out here giving you life advice, you're not getting into no consultation call, how are you running up a bag? And how are you teaching them to run a bag? You're right now just talking out your mouth and you're not teaching nobody other than preaching.
What do I do for a living? Started off as an app developer.
By the way, drink water. But as Omi spent more time showcasing his lifestyle on the internet and being more open about how he made his money, he caught the attention of the FBI. And on November 20th, 2019, just 6 months after his first video, they raided his home. This case file shows 88 lines of personal property that the federal government seized from Omi. Over the next couple of months, the FBI confiscated $5,875,000, 58 vehicles, including a 2020 Lamborghini Huracan, a 2019 Lamborghini Aventador.
At this point, bro, you are running some sort of dealership, car rental business. I hope if that's what you are covering up under your umbrella, right?
And a 2019 Audi A7. They also took 21 properties, including buildings in downtown Philadelphia and mansions in the suburbs. You would think that in a situation as serious as this, Omi would keep quiet, but as soon as this happened, he went live on YouTube to tell his fans about the raid. At first, he thought the feds were after him for tax evasion, which was partially true, and Omi claimed that he was innocent, but it wasn't just taxes that the feds were worried about.
Bro, when I tell you they took everything, they took every SD card, every camera.
They went after your camera SD cards. How? Are you asleep? Or you just willingly give it to them? How did they find every one of those SD cards? Are you hiding anymore?
Every television in my houses, IPTV is a gray area. You know, the Copyright Act hasn't been updated since the 1960s. And you know,
how do you know this stuff?
I hit a fucking gray area and exploited it, and they just didn't like it.
Omi thought he had found a loophole in the US copyright law and was exploiting it. Now, if at this point you're feeling extremely confused as to how this guy even got into this situation in the first place, this is exactly how his hundreds of thousands of fans felt. Ironically, once the feds raided him, that's when Omi started opening up about exactly how he made his fortune. Omi and a Hellcat, whose real name is Bill Omar Carrasquillo, operated a large-scale Internet Protocol Television, or IPTV, piracy scheme in which they fraudulently obtained cable television accounts and then resold copyrighted content to thousands of their own subscribers who could then stream or play back content. This piracy scheme all started on Kodi. Kodi is essentially just a media player that's available on any device. People use Kodi to watch videos, podcasts, movies, play games, listen to music.
Okay, now I'm asking you guys, where do you think he was advertising this at? Do you think publicly? I don't think so. I pretty much he was out here in the streets off the trunk. Hey, I'm gonna take a load of this, man. Look in the trunk. I got you with this little, under the radar free subscription. All you can watch TV shows. That's probably how you ran it up. I get you a whole bundle. Buy all these, and you can flip them yourself. That's probably what he did.
Etc. However, Kodi doesn't make its own content. It's an open source streaming platform that anyone can make apps on. Because of this, it's mostly known for people who watch pirated or stolen content. Most people used Kodi on Amazon Fire Sticks. They would go on the Kodi app, install all their favorite networks, and stream content for free. But it's not that easy. A lot of these add-ons can be riddled with malware or just end up being bogus apps that don't work or stream low-quality content, which leads to people Googling things like best Kodi add-ons for free and searching through blogs to find out what apps are the most trusted, like The Crew or Daddy Live. Not only does researching and installing these apps take a little bit of technical skill, it also is just a lot of work. Around 2016, Omi was exposed to this and saw a huge opportunity. Omi would buy Amazon Fire Sticks for $40, jailbreak them, or install all the best and most trusted apps onto Kodi, then resell them for about $120 to $150 to his customers, essentially giving customers cable TV for a one-time fee. The reason we know this is because he had no problem telling people his scheme.
And back when Kodi was popping, you know what I'm saying, I was one of the first ones doing Kodi sticks, and that's how I started making a lot of money.
Kodi sticks.
Buying these boxes from Amazon already preloaded and just reselling them for more money. I'll buy them for $50, sell them for $120, $150. Now I was selling thousands of Fire Sticks. I'm talking about a lot of Fire Sticks.
In 2016, Omi said that he made $1 million flipping Fire Sticks. That gave him enough.
So apparently, he thought he was good under the copyright law. Whatever reason, he thought he was bypassing. He openly told you guys what he did. So, I don't know. This didn't work out well.
Money to fund his next piracy venture, which would make him tens of millions of dollars. By this point, Omar was kind of a regular in the online piracy community, which is surprisingly large.
I was a negative person in Kodi because I was like a wrestler. There was good guys and there were bad guys. I was the bad guy.
Oh, you got a thick gold chain.
That's how I got people's attention.
He was known by the username Target in 1080p. His YouTube channel was originally named Target in 1080p and featured videos of him discussing things in the IPTV space. One particular man named Dexter took a liking to him. Dexter was a developer and Omi was the financial backbone. Together, they made an app for Kodi called Gears TV, which was inspired by his favorite video game, Gears of War. Gears TV was Omi's all-in-one digital content package with some of your favorite shows like Game of Thrones, Better Call Saul, Twin Peaks, all of the major networks like ABC, ESPN, and Fox, channels that are only shown in the UK and Canada.
At this point, everything is pretty much all literally not even like... You didn't really put much thought into the brand other than naming Kodi the Fire Sticks. Everything else you pretty much leached off of an existing already, channel, game, whatever.
And even more premium packages like NFL Sunday Ticket. Gears TV provided all of that content in 1080p resolution for as low as $15 per month. If someone were to pay for regular cable, it could cost them anywhere from $60 to $200 per month. But how was he able to do this? Essentially, what Omi did was purchase cable subscriptions from Comcast, Spectrum, Verizon, DirecTV, and Frontier Communications. These cable subscriptions come with a box that contains encrypted media. Omi purchased decoders from China to remove the encryption, then capture cards to download the content and send it to a server where it would be redistributed over the internet to his subscribers. Gears TV was cheap and provided way more value and content than any cable company could ever compete with, and word spreads fast in the IPTV community. Omi went from making $5,000 per week to $400,000 per week in just a few months. The indictment claims that in total, the defendants
From 5,000 to 400, that's like an extra 5,000%. I don't know. Y'all do the math for me.
received more than $30 million in subscriber fees. Omi said he was still living in the hood of Philly at this point, and nobody knew the kind of money he was raking in. His first purchase was a 2016 Camaro SS 50th Edition, his dream car. Keep in mind, Gears TV was no small operation. They had large servers, customer service representatives, and the government did have their eye on these schemes. As it got more popular, the monthly price increased, which pissed off customers as their $15 per month turned into $20, then $30, then $40, getting closer and closer to regular cable prices. Omi sold his app to a private investment company in 2018 for a whopping $40 million. This was perhaps his most genius move, because not too long after, Gears TV.
What good is money when how are you gonna like run away? Can't run away anymore. With all this money, like at least can't show your face ever. You doing something like that. So money ain't gonna save you.
TV shut down, but it did not stop there. Omi used his large payout and expertise to build a new and improved app called Reloaded TV. This was everything Gears was and more, with a way better interface and higher quality content. Reloaded very quickly became one of the biggest apps in the IPTV space because of its great user interface and reliability. It's unclear what exactly happened to Reloaded TV. It seems like it wasn't around for very long, because in 2019, Omar abandoned the Target in 1080p name and changed it to Omi in a Hellcat, and he stopped talking about the IPTV space as a whole. He claims he knew the industry was dying and the feds were cracking down on other apps similar to Reloaded. Now, is it possible that Omi's YouTube channel alerted the FBI? Not necessarily, but it didn't help his case. Anyone who is in the business of distributing media knows there are others trying to steal it, but Omi's YouTube channel promoting his own brand and attaching a face to the scheme just made it that much easier to identify the perpetrator. Bragging and flaunting his wealth could have pissed off authorities, and yeah, they're human. Maybe they did want to put him in his place a little bit. Maybe they were harsher on him than others to make an example out of him. In one vlog, Omi found out that federal agents boarded his flight to the Dominican Republic to make sure he wasn't trying to flee the country. But you have to remember that all of the information I just gave you
in the jet with him, in the airplane while he was taking his vacation trips, it was spying on you.
his audience didn't know about. They had no idea why the FBI was after him. They just knew Omi had to restart his life.
Please continue to support this channel. I'm gonna stay strong. I'm gonna try to.
What kind of weird stuff did he get through?
They broke one of the strongest people I know, which is me. They broke me, but no one got me to this position. Only but me. Start taking responsibility for your actions.
Omi's YouTube channel after the raid became dedicated to him trying to regain his wealth, start new businesses, buy more cars, all while the feds were watching him. He started a printing company / merch brand under the name Reloaded, where he made and sold all different types of clothing out of a room in his house. Keep in mind, he had his construction business and various other side hustles that kept him paid. Plus, it's not like the feds emptied his bank accounts entirely. Omi kept saying he was broke, but his version of broke is going from tens of millions to maybe just a few millions. But it wouldn't be long before the FBI came back.
The whole FBI situation, it seems like they're trying to tack on money laundering charges, tax evasion charges.
From 20
This guy was money free. You out here really just committing crimes in the eyes of everyone watching you. Wonder what kind of lesson he learned off of this. Like, did it really pay off?
2016 to 2018, when Omi made tens of millions of dollars, he admits that he did not pay his taxes. However, he had a reason. He claims that the accountant he hired told him that she was CPA certified when she wasn't, and that she never paid his taxes the right way, but he was more than willing to pay the millions he owed. However, once he finally got together the money to pay his taxes, it was stolen from him. He posted a video titled, "I Got Robbed for $1 million," in which he claims that he took $920,000 out of the bank in cash to give to his accountant. He left for Dallas for 2 days, and while he was gone, someone cut the power off from his house and stole the cash, some electronics, and his girlfriend's purses. The funny part is, a lot of his own fans were suspicious. It seemed like Omi was trying to stash $1 million and throw off the feds by setting up a robbery. "Sorry, IRS, I can't pay my taxes because somebody stole my money and here's my YouTube video to prove it." Plus, you have to think, why would anyone bother stealing Xboxes and TVs when you have $1 million cash? Conveniently, this video was posted on the same day that Omi released his very first sneaker, the Omi Zeros, which was just a Nike Jordan 1 silhouette that replaced...
Wait, my boy was claiming he got finessed and then still slides in a quick endorsement of his next product release. That's crazy. He was clever with it.
The swoosh with a lightning bolt. He even took the Air Jordan branding and replaced it with Air Omi. Now, taking the Nike silhouette for a shoe brand isn't something new. It was a really hot trend for the past few years. I even bought myself a pair. Omi would slap the word Reloaded on a popular team's logo, or really any iconic brand trade dress. It's pretty clear that Omi's specialty is copyright infringement. Building an original brand is way too much work and too risky. However, things got really bad for Omi in September of 2021 when he was formally indicted with criminal copyright infringement, wire fraud, money laundering, and several other crimes. The feds came back once again and raided his house for the second time. This time, he made much bigger headlines and was even interviewed on...
Bro, this is an example of someone who's good at being too good. He's good at what he do. Like, there's that side of becoming a really good entrepreneur that runs legit businesses, and then there's really good entrepreneurs who are just good at being criminals.
On the news.
Just to be crystal clear, the indictment that came down today, you're saying you're completely innocent of those?
Not completely innocent would be a false statement. Now, ignorance is no excuse for the law.
Again, you'd imagine someone would be quiet during this instance, or at the very least have their lawyer speak for them, but Omi was still convinced that he exploited the system. Omi's whole life at this point was dedicated to fighting this case. He barely uploaded YouTube videos, maybe once a month, and when he did, you could just tell this man's spirit was broken. But after months of deliberation from his legal counsel, Omi pleaded guilty in February of 2022.
I'm letting you guys know that I'm pleading guilty. Long talks with my attorney, and it's the best option, Ignorance is no excuse, like I've always said, and it's to me, it's about accepting responsibility.
Now he was going to serve some time in prison. 3 U.S. government attorneys say that Omar, aka Omi and a Hellcat, should serve 15 years and 8 months in prison for crimes related to his pirate IPTV service, Gears TV. So he spent all of his time grinding to get his business affairs in order so his family can survive while he is away. But on March 7th, 2023, Omi finally met his fate. United States District Court for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania, Judge Harvey Bartle III, acknowledged that the advisory guidelines of 24 years would be highly unusual for a copyright matter, and therefore decided that 66 months would be enough to punish Omar and send a deterrent message to any of his followers considering the same type of behavior. On top of the 5.5 years in prison, Omar...
66 months is literally like a high school, going through a high school, basically. You are going through high school, little jail vacation.
5 years of supervised release. He had to forfeit $30 million worth of assets, which was mostly vehicles and properties. And he had to pay more than $16 million in restitution, $10 million to the cable companies and $5 million to the IRS. But surprisingly, Omi was happy with this outcome.
He could have gave me 15 years if he wanted to. He really could have. He really could have. He could have gave me 15 years, and
that's a slap on the wrist, low key.
And to the fact that he gave me another chance with my kids, like I said, man, I'm always going to have that man in the back of my mind.
Throughout this entire time, Omi's supporters have had his back, and a lot of them don't look at him as a scammer nor a fraudster, probably because most people don't have sympathy for billion-dollar corporations. Omi was stealing from corporations and giving their product to regular people for a fair price. He came from nothing in the streets of Philadelphia and built an empire. However, that empire wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for the people who created the demand in the first place. Omi knows what he did was wrong, and he has a
What you guys think is legitimately a criminal in your eyes? Because in the eyes of the law, it seems like if you making too much money, they're not getting a piece of the cake. They're gonna take the whole pie, you know what I'm saying? Cake. That's pretty much what it was. But 66 months slapping the wrist. He literally learned a lot from this as far as like, will he do it again? Hopefully not, right? But he did make a lot of money and he might still have money left over. He pretty much blessed everybody at the same time giving y'all cheap cable. But hey, you guys that be thinking outside the box, make sure it's the legit way.